Hello, class. Let's start with a little bit of a review of Chapter 6, which we did cover before break, but it's been quite a while since then. So let's do a little refresher and review the nearest neighbor algorithm and so forth, so we can focus on wrapping up Chapter 6 with the rest of this week. So we discussed traveling salesman problems, which were specific to Chapter 6, which is not to get confused with the street routing problems from Chapter 5, but they were very similar. Remember that the main goal of those problems was to create what we call a Hamilton circuit. So a Hamilton circuit, or a Hamilton path in other specific cases, is an example of a circuit that hits every single vertex of the graph exactly once and returns back to the start. So these sorts of problems, like the one we looked at in class, our goal was to start at one of the locations and visit every other point on the graph and return home. Like going on a vacation or making a business trip to locations. The other element of these problems was we wanted to make sure to typically minimize the cost of travel. So on these weighted graphs, as we call them, which is the graphs with the numbers on them, the numbers could correspond to dollars for traveling, time for traveling, distance traveling, and in any of those types of problems, we would typically want to reduce the amount we're spending on our vacation, or reduce the mileage, or reduce the amount of time spent on the road, depending on what the numbers are. But we discussed there's various different ways of finding the optimal answer. And remember that the optimal answer in these cases, the goal is to find the optimal Hamilton circuit, just means the best case scenario, which is typically the lowest total weight. And you could also use these algorithms to maximize the weights of the that we're traveling between the points, but it's never going to ask you to do that. But you could apply the same algorithms we're going to discuss in exactly the opposite way if you did one. Um, Anyways, so we discussed some of the elements of the traveling salesman problems. We did some examples of finding optimal answers, as well as we got into some of the algorithms. So in the next video, I'll review the nearest neighbor algorithm and the repetitive nearest neighbor algorithm. Um, we'll do a fresh example just to get the ball rolling, um, and that should be good for this one.